Welcome everyone. Today is May 29th, 2024. I'm just sitting outside on my deck. I will not be out here long because I'm being eaten alive by different bugs. Mosquitoes, there's deer flies and black flies and all these other bugs that I never heard of in the city, and they attack you and they're just terrible. So I am going to do a video soon on mosquito repellents that work and don't work. Not just mosquitoes, but other bugs too, because there's a group of stuff that's eating me. And I'm sitting out here with a sweatshirt and I have the hood on. I'm just tying it right now really tight because they're terrible. So I do have a video coming out later today, maybe tomorrow. I'm just waiting for Amazon to deliver because I had to order some small spray bottles. So I do have some of my homemade vanilla that I made using alcohol. So I don't know if it'll work with glycerin. Doesn't interest me, so I don't make anything with glycerin. And I don't know if artificial flavoring is gonna work, but apparently the vanilla works. So I'm gonna show you how much I put in my spray bottle and if it actually works, because like I said, it's not just mosquitoes, it's other things too. So you can look for that video. But I needed to come out in nature for a bit. I don't have any good news on this ball blue book. So, you know, I try to make the best of things here. I really do. And sometimes it's very difficult. Sometimes it's really overwhelming and depressing. So I do the best I can with what I have. And, you know, sometimes I just need to ignore all the things that are bothering me and find something that is exciting or brings me joy or makes me happy, or for the most part just distracts my mind, so my mind isn't reminding me of all the things that need to get done that I can't do, or just the things that I can do but it's so overwhelming. So the other day, I don't know, I just took a break from doing work and stuff, and I love to do work. I always like to stay busy. I have a hard time just if I'm just sitting there not doing anything. It's just not something I can do. Even if I'm taking a break or I'm just relaxing or something, I'm always doing like 3 different things. So even if I'm just like sitting on a lawn chair, I'm usually watching something on YouTube to learn something, or I'm doing something like reading, like with my hands. So I have a book and I'm reading. Sometimes I'm listening to something while I'm reading, or you know, I'm planning stuff out in my mind and thinking about stuff. So, you know, I'm always keeping busy and trying to get things done. But I don't know, I just came in and thought, oh, just need a break from life. So I went on YouTube to see if there was any videos that were something just like exciting for me. Not so much, it doesn't have to be educational, but just something that I would enjoy watching. And if I learned something, great. But just to distract my mind. So I went and I looked the other day, and Heather at the Kneady Homesteader had just posted a video on the 140th anniversary for Ball, their jars, and she got their new book. Well, oh my goodness, I was so excited, and I thought, oh, this is great. Like, look at those jars, they're so beautiful. Now the price is horrible, but you know, one can dream, because maybe one day I'll find them on clearance and then I can have nice pretty jars. But they were so beautiful and so pretty, and I really love seeing the really nice canning jars. Even if I can't buy them, it's still nice to see what's out there, and they're really nice. And unless, you know, it just gives ideas on what to keep an eye out for, because sometimes things do go on sale or on clearance. So anyways, those are beautiful. Then she showed the Ball Blue book. Oh my goodness, that was so exciting. So I saw where it has like 40 new recipes, and you know, that's exciting because this year I have to can more than I've ever done, ever. Last year I couldn't can much of anything because I couldn't get a garden, and you know, everything costs money. So I just did the best I could, you know, with what I had, but I don't want to go another winter or even another year having to pay grocery store prices and also having to eat grocery store food, because I've noticed it doesn't taste anywhere, I don't even want to say the same. It doesn't taste much of anything like actual natural food. So if you've had a tomato from the grocery store, it is nothing like a tomato fresh off the plant. It doesn't even smell the same. So, you know, I really need to grow as much as I possibly can. So I'm really hoping that I will be able to get all the wood and the soil that I need so I can get my gardens planted this year and actually have food to harvest. But in the meantime, this is a great time to start looking at all the recipes that you want to try and get everything organized. So that's just what I do. I do this all year long. I dream. So it's good to dream, and it distracts your mind, and it's something positive. So, you know, it's just something I like to do. And I like to go looking for some good canning recipes and ideas on things that I'd like to try. So I got all excited and I thought, ooh, I need to get this book. So, you know, and sometimes it is important to buy something for yourself that brings you joy, even if it's a book, because I know at least here, I spend so much of my time and any money that I have on fixing things or buying building supplies or things I need or stuff for the house. And it's just like a never-ending list of all the things that I have to do and have to buy and all these expenses. And whatever I can't, every month, you know, there's always most of the list I can't get, and it carries over to the next month. Like, okay, well, let's see what I can get off this list this month. And so it can be really depressing and overwhelming when you're constantly spending money on things that, I don't want to say doesn't bring you joy, but it's just things that you have to have. And so sometimes it's nice to, every once in a while, to just get something because you want it and it brings you joy. It's not necessarily something that you need or what you should be spending your money on, but sometimes you just need to get something that makes you happy, because what's the point? Like, what's the point of, like, living your life being, you know, a little discouraged or depressed and just living from one list to the next list? And it's not enjoyable when you can't just go and buy the things that you want because it's just something that you want. If you see things that you really like or you want to buy it and you just can't because, oh, well, can't do that because I have to buy the well water pump, or, oh, well, that's going to be a while before I can buy that because I have to buy wood. So for the next few months, I'm focusing on every dollar extra goes towards wood or manure. So who wants to live their life where all the things that you buy are things that you have to have, but there's no joy? There's nothing special. So, oh my gosh, that's terrible. It's just picked up. Let me see if I can show you. Actually. Okay, this might be good. So the wind is really picked up, and it's nice because I like to hear the trees over the traffic. There's so much traffic here, and I prefer to hear the wind from the trees, but sometimes it's just too strong. So it is beautiful. But anyways, I was just saying that, you know, it's nice to be able to do something for yourself once in a while that maybe, you know, you shouldn't, I don't want to say shouldn't do, but it's just not something you can afford to do. And buying a canning book, you know, it's something that is a good positive thing and that you're going to use, or at least I'm going to use and enjoy. So it's not like I'm wasting money. I'm not going and taking a road trip somewhere, which actually is something everyone should do because that also distracts your mind and is something positive. But you know, at least I'll have something to show for the little bit of money that I've spent, that I would have spent on something that wasn't on my list. But, you know, it's good. So I got all excited. I'm like, ooh, I gotta have this book. So I thought I'll just treat myself, which don't happen very often. So I went online to Walmart and I thought, okay, I live out in the country. You know, I haven't been into town or to a grocery store in over a month, and it's difficult because I have to rely on, okay, do I have money that makes it worth going into town? Because when you're spending a bunch of money on gas and you have to find someone to drive you, I'm not going into town to get a week's worth of groceries. I have to go into town and buy like a month's worth of stuff just to make it worth actually going there, and I don't know when the next time I'll be able to go is. So I have to make sure I have enough to make it worth it. And so, you know, I can't just go into town and go and check and see if Walmart has it. So I went online, and which they should have it online because that would be the number one place to go for anything. And it's in their best interest to sell it online. So I went to the website, and just a side note for Walmart, Walmart has, I've noticed a few years ago, they started trying to become like Amazon, where most of the stuff on their website is not even sold by Walmart. So when you go onto Walmart's website, just know, at least here in Canada, almost everything is not sold by Walmart. It's like third-party sellers. So it's kind of like Amazon. Some things are sold by Amazon, but like most things are not. So anyways, if you search something on the Walmart website, if you go, and I think it's the top left corner, at least on my phone it is, there's like a little tab. I think it says sort. It might say filter, but I think it says sort. And you click on that button, and then you scroll all the way down to where it says sold by, and then you can select Walmart. And it will then filter everything, and only the products that are sold by Walmart that you had typed in the search bar will come up. So I tried to find this book, and I could not find it through like the Walmart or through even third-party sellers. I cannot find this new ball blue book. So I thought, well, that don't make sense because that's like the one place that should sell it, because that's the one place that does sell it. So I went on Amazon, and I thought, okay, well, let's see how much it is here. It is not on Amazon. Of all places, it's not on Amazon. So getting a little frustrated and upset because I just wanted one nice thing. So I then checked on the regular internet search for this book in Canada. Nothing at all. So I thought, okay, like this is just ridiculous. So I went to Ball's website and I selected Canada, and I sent them an email. I'm going to put a screenshot of the reply that I got on my community page. So if you want to see the email that they sent me, I will post that on my community page. But I sent them an email just asking them where I can get this book and if there's a way I can just buy it from them. They sell it, they make it. So for a company that makes a product and sells it, they should be able to find a way to allow you to buy it. So if you can't find a place to sell it, they should make some kind of exception where they can just sell it to you. And I even asked them that, you know, if they have any canning books, even if it's not this one, if they have any that are like damaged and they can't sell them in a store, but you know they're willing to sell them at a heavily discounted price, like I may be willing to buy them. Or if they would like to donate them to me, they can, and I will show them on my channel so they get free advertising, and then it may encourage other people to go online and purchase their books. And they completely ignored everything. So they were not willing to sell me the book that they make. So not happy with Ball, not pleased at all. So Ball, not happy. And it makes me just question, like, what is wrong with these companies? You should be like helping your customers. If you have a customer that wants to buy something from you, how is it that difficult that you can't help them to buy your own product. Like, I don't understand. So anyways, Ball, apparently, this is what they tell me, Ball does not sell the Blue Book in Canada. So I cannot get the new Ball Blue Book, and I can't even get the older version because it's not sold in Canada. So here's what really makes me wonder why they're telling me this crap. Because for as long as I've been seeing canning jars in the stores for years, the canning jars that we do have, I call them off-brand, but we do have jars that are different brands, but the name brand jars that, the known name brand jars that most people buy are the Bernardin. Bernardin is actually the same as Ball, the same as Kerr. They're all made by the same company. So a long time ago, these companies actually sold their company to one company, and that company kept the individual brand names and kept the products looking like they're separate companies, but they're all the same. They're all made by the same company. So there's really no difference between the Bernardin or the Ball or the Kerr. They're all the same. They're all made by the same company, everything. The only thing I can say that there is a difference is that canning jars in Canada, okay, I don't know if they're made in Canada, but canning jars that are sold in Canada that are not from the US, I guess you'd say. So our jars might be made in the US, but they're specifically made with the Canadian measurements. So apparently our pint and quarts are actually slightly different than the size is slightly different than the US. And this makes sense because my canner doesn't fit the amount of jars that it says it fits. So I believe like our quart jar is not an actual quart. It's like a liter, or like, it's like, I forget the exact amounts, but our jars are slightly different measurements, but basically they're just basically the same. I still call them pint and quart because basically that's what it is. Good enough. So it's close enough. It's a pint and a quart. So there is a slight difference, but it's all made by the same company. So what I actually noticed very recently that I have never noticed before, I'm not saying that they haven't sold these before. I'm just saying I've never seen them in a Walmart or any other store. But I've been seeing Ball brand canning jars in the Walmart. So why is Ball selling canning jars at Walmart, but they won't sell their book to go with the canning jars at Walmart? So I'm having a hard time understanding this company, and it makes me not want to support them in any way. And I'm sure they have great products, and I've actually really became very interested in a canner that I saw. I think it's the electric canner. It's an electric water bath canner, I think it is, or something. So I'm sure they have good products, but this company is not on my good side. So, I'm really struggling with this company. So as much as I would love to have their new Fall Blue Book, they don't want me to have it. They don't want any Canadians to have this book, and they're not even willing to help us. So I thought I would get a reply if they said, oh, sorry, it's not available yet. Then maybe they would tell me when it would be available. Or they could tell me where or how I could order it. Or they could say, well, it's not available in Canada, but if you're willing to make a purchase, then we can sell it to you, but, it would cost like this amount of money because we would have to ship it to Canada, or at least give me an option. But nothing. It's like they don't even care. They just don't care. So not happy with Ball at all. And it makes me just, want to try and find a better company. And I know most people buy the Ball jars, but I have seen that there are other companies that are coming out with their own line of canning jars. And from the reviews that I've seen people do, it seems like they're very good quality. Now, I always use caution with reviews because I sometimes feel like when somebody's given a free product, they may purposely only say good things or maybe leave out certain things because they're getting free product and they want the company to keep selling them free product, or they want people using their coupon codes because they get a commission off of that. So I'm just at a point right now where I really think it's a good idea for pretty much everyone to not focus on a brand name and just to really pay more attention now, especially now, to quality. And maybe just look into finding like different companies and companies that actually care about their customers and are nicer to their customers, you know? So I've been looking for years for a sale on canning jars, and instead of a sale, I keep finding increased prices. So I was fortunate last year though, just out of nowhere, something told me to look for a coupon code online. And I always listen to that little voice in my head. So I did, and I found a $5 off any case of Bernardin jars, like any size. And it said one like per person, but I could print out as many as I wanted. So every time I had some money and I went into town, I would buy a case of canning jars. I get $5 off. I go back in the store, buy another case, I get $5 off. Go back in the store. And so I actually stocked up on some canning jars last year with my $5 off coupons. I saved like $200 or something with my coupons, but I still need like so many jars. I need so many, it's not even funny. And they went up in price. And I started thinking, okay, well, you know, I'm not paying $15 plus 15% sales tax for a case of pint jars. I actually mostly need quarts anyways, but quarts are like $20 or $22 now for a case of quarts plus taxes. It's ridiculous. So I've actually been looking into other options because I also see people, oh, well, something's made in China, I'm not buying it. Well, here's the thing. Just because something's made in America or Canada does not mean it's any good. Because I will tell you, there are so many companies that care more about money than quality, and just because something's made in America or Canada doesn't mean it's good. Because I have bought and come across many things that said made in the USA or made in Canada, and I will tell you it was garbage. And they also want top dollar. So just because it's made in America don't mean it's any good. I do think it's best if we can support local and we can support our own economies and our own people and help them create jobs and keep jobs. But at the same time, I'm not buying something just because it says made in America or made in Canada. I want something that's good quality and that I can afford. So I happened to notice like a month ago, Home Hardware here is a hardware store. They had like a 60th anniversary or something, 60 something. And so they had canning jars for 60% off. And I've actually bought canning jars a few years ago before I moved that were extremely cheap, and they were Bernardin brand pint jars, and they were like $5 and I don't know, 40 something or 20 or 40 something cents a case. And at that time they were like $12 a case regular. So I got what I could afford. I used my tax refund money and I just bought candy jars. But I haven't seen a sale since. I just keep seeing increased prices. So when I saw this 60% off sale and it was $5.77 for a case of pint jars, and regular, like the Bernardin brand, I think I looked at them the other day, it was like $15 plus tax for a case of 12, which is crazy. So if I can get a case of 12 for $5.77, that's the time to stock up. And so of course the stores were sold out. I couldn't go to the store anyways. I don't have a car. So I decided to buy a house instead of a car because I got my house for the price of a car, but I'd rather have a place to live. So anyways, online it just kept saying sold out because it didn't even have an option to order online. So I called the store, and because I know this because I did it last time. A lot of people don't know you can do this. With home hardware, if they have something that's not in stock, it doesn't mean you can't still get it or for that price. As long as it's in stock at their warehouse, then they can actually order it for you and you'll still get that price. So fortunately, they didn't have a limit where I've seen people post pictures on Facebook of this amazing sale at Home Hardware, like in different places in Canada. And they were showing pictures of the price, and on their price it was like limit 2 or limit 4 cases. But fortunately, when I called the store near me and I asked if I could put in a special order, which most people don't know you can do, this is not a problem. So they asked me, how many do you want? And I thought to myself, okay, well, if I don't buy all of these things that I need, then, maybe I need to get as many as I can possibly get. So I made some sacrifices, and instead of paying these bills I needed to pay and stuff, I wanted to invest in my candy jars. Well, they're 60% off because that's going to save me a lot of money in the long run. So I told them, I figured out how many cases I should be able to afford. So they said not a problem. They have enough in the warehouse, so they'll put in the order and they'll let me know when it comes in, and then you pay when it comes in. So fortunately, even though I actually didn't have the money at the time, because you don't have to pay until it comes in, I was able to place my order and get that price. I still have not got them yet because it's been a month, but I'm like, I still don't have the money to pay for them. But I'm trying to work things out, and I think maybe the end of next week, I might be able to finally pay for them. So anyways, and so here's another thing too. So they said they don't deliver out this far, but it depends on who you talk to, really. So I was actually able to get delivery for $45 extra. Well, it was going to cost me $50 to pay the neighbor to go down there with his truck to get this pallet of candy jars. So I thought, wait a minute, instead of paying the neighbor $50 to go all the way into town to get my candy jars, I could pay them $45 and they'll deliver it right to my house, and I don't have to rely on the neighbor. So anyways, just side note, that is possible. But here's the thing. So the jars were not Bernardin brand. So these jars, it was a brand I never heard of. But I looked it up online first, and even though it's not a name brand that I've ever heard of, when I looked it up, people were posting reviews about how great the jars were, and they've never had a problem with them. And my thoughts are, yeah, because they're probably made in the same factory as all the other candy jars. And that's how a lot of things go. They're just all made in the same place. It's just a different name on them. And I don't care about the lids because I'm not going to be using off-brand lids. The off-brand lids that come with them, I just call it off-brand, but I'll just put those in a box, and whenever I'm doing vacuum sealing dry food, I'll just use those lids. But for actual canning, I want to just use the good quality lids. So I don't care about the lids. I just want the good jars at a discount price. So I will post a picture on my community page of a screenshot of the ad that I saw, so you can see the name of the jars and it has the price. But and then I started thinking, okay, so a lot of people, this is what I hear all the time. Oh, well, that's, it's not like name brand. I wouldn't use them. Oh, the jars are made in China, so I'm not going to use them. Why not? What does it matter if they're made in China? Isn't almost everything else made in China? And just because it's made in China doesn't mean it's bad quality. I, again, would prefer to support something made in Canada or US, but unfortunately, that's not an option I have at the moment. And even if I did, I'm really heavily dependent on prices too. I can't, if I were to pay a lot of money for something, then I'm not going to get anywhere near what I need. So right now, I'm in survival mode. I've been in survival mode for a long time. So I just care more about good quality. I don't care where it's made. Is it good quality? Is it, is it non-toxic? Like, it's, so anyways, I just think, maybe when you see how these companies don't care about their customers, because they don't need to. They've made so much money that, like, and they have such a strong name that they know people just buy stuff because of the name brand. Most people don't understand that a lot of these companies keep changing the way they make things. But because that name brand meant something good back in the day, they still associate that with the same product. And often it's not the same product. And so when I started thinking, okay, if I didn't know what the brand names were of any of these canning jars, which ones would I buy? And that's how I try to change my mindset with a lot of things. So if you had a whole bunch of canning jars in front of you and they didn't have a label on them, and you had to pick which canning jars you're gonna buy, how would you pick your canning jars? So, I think that's something that we need to try and work a little harder for, is to look at quality and customer service more than brand names. And so I don't care that these jars are made in China as long as they're good jars. And apparently they are. So I'm happy with my $5.77 case of pint jars that's made in China. Well, so be it. At some point, I hope to get to a place where I can support a company that makes jars local and makes lids local, and it's good quality and it's affordable prices. But for now, it's not going to happen. So, that's just something that I'm trying hard to do. So, anyways, since Ball is not being very nice and they don't care about their Canadian customers, and they're not interested in even helping me find a way to get this book, I am just going to be using the books that I got last year. So, unfortunately, a lot of people may or may not know, but I've been through a lot, and I don't wish that on anybody. And over the years, so much of my stuff has been stolen, like just ridiculous amounts of my things stolen for different things. I lived in an apartment one time, and that was enough. The landlord, I had to leave the apartment for a while, because the people that were in the apartment across from me had cockroaches, and I could see them coming in my door, and it was so disgusting, and they wouldn't do anything. And I remember waking up and I could see them. I turned the light on, they were coming in my door. And I actually first realized that there was cockroaches in this apartment building because I would wake up and I could feel them crawling on me. And it is one of the most disgusting, worst feelings. And I remember it was like in the middle of the night, and I didn't even want to touch anything. I just wanted to take a shower. But then I was like, well, how do I know they're not in the clean clothes that I have? They could be anywhere, and they could have babies. So I was so disgusted. I just grabbed some of my most important things that I had. I put it in some luggage that was on wheels, and I just shook my things out like really, really good, put them in my luggage, and I had to get out of that apartment. And I actually went down to someone's house, and I stayed there for a while, and and I complained to the landlord, and like, I can't live here, and then rent was due. Well, I'm like, I'm not paying rent in an apartment I can't even live in, and so anyways, when I got back to the apartment, all my stuff was gone. They went in my apartment and stole everything. And of course, the Canadian laws are not for people. They're just for the criminals, because I could get into that, because they're actually not, we're under Black's laws, we're not under the actual Canadian laws. Anyways, so that's why our system is so corrupt. But anyways, I've had a lot of my stuff stolen, and that was years ago. But then more recently, when I was moving, tons and tons and tons of my boxes got stolen by the thieves that are just all over the place where I lived. It used to be a nice area, and then it's not anymore. So tons of my stuff got stolen, just tons of it. And then when I was actually moving, the last load of stuff from moving, the movers stole a whole bunch of my stuff. So I have to kind of like rebuy a whole lot of things. And so one of the things I was trying to do is build a good library, and I think it was, yeah, last year, the year before, I just every so often, if I had like a little extra money, I'd just buy a book. And so this year, I'm just going to be using some of these books that I bought to replace my library. So I know that these are probably maybe not the greatest books. They're not like the best books to use maybe, and there's not a whole lot. I know there's some really amazing books out there, but not everybody can just go online and buy all the books they want or the books they need. So this is just what I'm using. It's not because I think these are the best books, but these are just the books that I've seen other people recommend, and apparently they're very good books. So if you have any suggestions about books that you know have great recipes in them and great information, feel free to put that in the comments so other people can look at the list, and maybe when they're trying to figure out what books they want to buy, then they have some direction on where to start. And you know, it is overwhelming when you see like hundreds of canning books. Which ones do you pick? So I think if you know, you see a whole bunch of people saying, well, this book is great, I have this one, I use this all the time, this is a good book, then it helps give some people some direction. So instead of just randomly picking a book that looks good, then they can maybe look into a book that other people have recommended, and they're less likely to waste their money. Because I will tell you, I have bought many things online that I thought was good, and I got it, and I wish I never bought it because it wasn't good. It was junk or just terrible. So if you have any ideas or, you know, just advice on purchasing books and the names of the books, just put them in the comments so other people can see them. And these are just the books that I'm going to be using. So I bought this one here because I do want to ferment as much as I possibly can. And then I also got this one here too. I have not used any of these because I didn't have a garden to use any of it with, but I'm hopeful that this year I will have my garden. And this one here apparently was good, so I'm going to try and use this one here. It's just a basic book. It's nothing fancy. There's no like pictures, but all I need is the recipes. That's all I really care about. So I'm hoping that this one will be good. So I'm gonna try that one. And then this one here is one that I see so many people recommend. So I'm gonna try this one here. So no ball blue book over here, but this one does have lots of great information, and let's see, and it has lots of just a lot of variety as well. So this is another book that I'm going to use. I'll probably go online maybe too and look up different recipes. I actually do know that you can pull up a lot of free PDF books online too. So I may do that as well. But, you know, I'm not impressed with Ball. And as much as I really wanted their new book, I've lost interest. I still would love to have the book, but you know, I think I would get more enjoyment out of buying things from like people who take pride in their stuff. So, you know, as much as like I said, like the Ball Blue book, I'm also looking into other books because that's not like the best and only book that's good for canning. I'm sure there's some really good canning books out there, and there's probably books that are better than Ball. So if you know of any books that are better than Ball, let me know, because I would happily rather support that company than Ball. So anyways, that's just what I was thinking about just now, and when I was sitting out here looking at some of my books. So I'm going to just be going through these and picking out some recipes that I want to use, and just start getting excited to get some canning done, and I will be posting videos. So once, I mean, it's just now getting into the 60s, so most of my seeds are just like still germinating. Some of them have sprouted and they're doing well, but it's still too cold for me to even put anything in the ground, so it's not going to be anytime soon. But once I actually have food to harvest, then I will make videos, and I do want to start from scratch. So I'll show all the different sizes and styles of the canning jars, and why people would use different canning jars, and I'll also show people how to use the pressure canner, and the water bath canner is fairly simple and straightforward. But I will do videos that are simple, straightforward from the basics, and then get into all the stuff I can that they tell you you can't or you're not supposed to can, because I do it anyways. If you know what you're doing and you understand what you can and cannot can and why, then you can can things that they tell you is you're not supposed to, but it's because they don't have an approved recipe that they've tested themselves. Doesn't mean it's not safe or you can't do it. They just don't recommend it. But like I said, if you understand canning, you can figure out the things that you can and how and why and how long and all that stuff. So I can butter, I can milk, I make my own evaporated milk. It's not that difficult. It's only one ingredient, milk. It all evaporated milk is, so it may not be exactly the same because it doesn't have all the chemicals, but when you're pressure canning milk, if you want to make evaporated milk, all you do is, instead of turning the canner off as soon as it comes to pressure, you just leave it on for however long you want. So some people will leave it on for 5 or 10 minutes. I've seen some people experiment and leave it on for 30 minutes, because the longer you leave it on, the stronger the flavor. Because all that's happening is milk naturally has sugar, and the heat is cooking the sugars in the milk, and that's where you're getting your flavor and your color change. So if you're going to can milk, it is important to know that it's not going to look or taste the same as fresh milk because it's cooked. So canned milk, I don't drink milk, but canned milk is really good for having on the shelf for cooking and baking. If you're making bread and you use milk, or if you do any kind of baking or any cooking that needs milk, sometimes you may not be able to just run to the store and grab milk, or you may not have the money, or it's bad weather, or whatever the case may be. Maybe there's tornadoes coming and you don't want to go out. It's good to have some things on the shelf, and I actually use my canned milk that I can myself for baking and cooking, and it's made just a huge difference in my life, because there's so many times when I don't have the things that I need and I can't just run to the store, but I can still make the stuff that I want because I have that canned milk. So is fresh milk better to use? Yeah, of course, but sometimes it's just not an option, and so it's good to have like a backup canned milk on your shelf, so you at least have something if you need it. And I think my stuff comes out like great. I would not be able to tell the difference between stuff that I cooked with regular milk, fresh milk, or my canned milk. So all you do is you just bring your pressure canner up to pressure and turn it off. And then once your pressure goes back to 0, then you're done. I've been doing that for years. So just a great option. But I will post videos on how to can and all the things that I do and use and why I don't, and all the explanations and stuff. And then I'll show you all the stuff that I can, because I can everything that I can possibly can, but I'm not into additives and stuff, so that makes it a bit difficult. I don't can stuff with Sure Gel. I don't can stuff with pectin. I don't. So I have to find ways, like recipes and ways of doing things where I'm not adding all that stuff. I don't want gel in my things. So anyways, I will just show all of the things that I can And hopefully that will encourage people to, you know, to just even try, because there's so many people scared of a pressure canner. I was one of them. But after I used it once, I thought it was the greatest thing. And if you have the right pressure canner, and you know what you're doing, there's no problem at all. So even if you forget it, because that has happened, it's perfectly fine. They have vents in them. They have emergency vents. So it's just gonna vent out. It's fine. It's not gonna explode. These are not pressure cookers, they're pressure canners. And the new styles are purposely meant to they're purposely made with safety features. So I'm really hoping that I can encourage more people to not be scared of the pressure canner and to get out there and just can all that you can, and then encourage other people and share information and have that extra food and security, because it's just extremely important. And I think going forward, it's even more important now than ever before to have as much food on your shelf as you possibly can. And not just for you, but also extra, because you don't know who's going to need help, or how long, you may need that food for. So for me, I just want to grow as much as I can it. I'm not saying, well, I'm only going to can enough for this amount of months or only for emergency. No, I'm canning all I can. So, because, another thing is you don't know from one year to another. So this year, I'm just going to can as much as I possibly can. But what happens if next year something happens and for some reason I can't get a garden in, or I'm not able to can anything next year? We just don't know. And so I do want to have a lot of extra of everything, just in case maybe next year I can't do canning, or I can't put in a garden, or whatever the case may be. It's good to have extra. So my goal is to at least have a few years worth of stuff on a shelf, just to be on the safe side. And then every year I'll just put the new stuff at the back, because for the most case, if you're canning properly, your food is going to last for many, many, many years, and it's still going to stay fresh. And some people will say, well, after certain things, after a few years, but it's usually after like 5 to 7 years, that's when you may lose flavor and nutrition. But, in my experience, I've had foods that have been canned for like 3 years and they still taste perfectly fine. They taste the same as they did when I first made them. So I don't notice any taste difference or anything like that. So, that's just what I think is important for me, is to just have as much on hand. If you don't end up using it, okay, fine, feed it to your chickens. But at least you have that. I know my dog wants to go in, but at least you have that. And, it's just extremely important. So I'm going to end this video and go in the house, but I just had to share my rant about Ball and their horrible customer service and their horrible policy. Why am I seeing Ball canning jars at my Walmart, but they won't sell the Ball canning book in Canada? That don't make any sense. So I'm just more encouraged to support different companies and not care so much about the brand name, but care more about the products and the customer service, because Ball is not the only company that makes canning books or canning jars. So anyways, that's all I have for right now. I'm just gonna go back in the house, and I think she's probably hungry, but we also have bugs out here too. So I'll make my video for tomorrow. I think it's going to be on my bug repellents, because, okay, fine, come up here. So my spray bottle she wanted her stick. I forgot I had her chew stick in my hand. So, I broke her chew stick in half and I gave her one, but, she wanted the other half. So now she's happy. She's got her full pizzle stick. So anyways, I was just saying that my video for tomorrow is on my mosquito repellent. So I had to order spray bottles because I didn't have small ones. So I'm going to be experimenting with the homemade vanilla extract I made, and I'm going to show you how much I put in my spray bottle, of that, how much is water, because apparently it's been working for everybody. It's something I wanted to do last year, but I was just so overwhelmed with all the bugs and everything that I just didn't even want to come outside at all. Like, it was so bad. I just stayed in the house and did work in the house. But I'm going to show you how I make the vanilla extract mosquito repellent spray, and something I'm experimenting with, which is, well, it's different natural and essential oils made into a lotion, but there's no chemicals and it's all natural and it's only one thing. So it's what I use on a daily basis for lotion that I've used for years, because I don't use lotion from a store. So if I mix one thing, that lotion, well, what I use for lotion, with the oils, is that going to work? Because it's in my skin. So I'm going to show you what I'm experimenting with that. And I also got mosquito, I don't want to, it's not a repellent, but it's just like a mosquito netting clothes. There's a lot of things that I, was looking at last year, and some things worked, some things didn't. So this year I'm just going to make a video and I'm going to show you the different things that I have, and then I'm going to actually try them this year and give you updates on what works and what doesn't, because it's not just mosquitoes. There's all these other biting bugs of all different sizes, and they're horrible. So when I get gas for my lawnmower, I'm going to put on my mosquito netting clothes over top of my clothes, and I'm going to cut my grass, some of it, and see how it works. If I don't get any bug bites, then I'll just keep cutting it. But if it's not really working out like I think, then I'm going to spray vanilla all over me and then put the bugs, just the vanilla, cut my grass, see if that does anything. And if it's not working, then I'll spray myself with vanilla and then put the bug spray clothes on and see if both together work. So have a video that is coming out tomorrow, because my jars, or my spray bottles, should be delivered today. So that one will be posted tomorrow. But for today, it was just my rant on my disappointment in Ball. Very disappointed in you, Ball. Very disappointed. So I will not be supporting Ball at all during my canning season. But I will be looking into other companies, and I will be using lids and jars that are not from Ball. So I will keep you posted on what supplies I'm going to be using during all of my canning this year. Oh, and my fermenting, because I plan on fermenting like ridiculous amounts of food to last all winter for your health, and for all year until the next harvest. So good gracious, I need a whole lot of stuff. But anyways, that is all I have for today, and I guess I'll stay out here for a little bit longer until I get eaten by the bugs. But she's happy now, so just gonna clean up a little bit on my porch, because the wind's been blowing stuff everywhere, really, really strong winds. So anyways, I'll see you on the next video.